Ready? So, Pasuk says, Davar al Kol Das Bnei Yisrael, speak to Klal Yisrael, V'amarta Aleim, and you should say to them, Kedoshim to you, that you should be holy, you should be kodesh. What does it mean to be holy? It says Rashi, have a prushim and arayis and aver, that you should be separate. That means you can have somebody, Baruch Hashem, he doesn't do averos, but he's not kodesh, he's not holy because he's attached to the aver. You know, all day you could be thinking about this aver. That's not called separate. Okay, he's not going to go to Gehenna.
Thinking about avera depends which one. Some avera thinking is also.
Let's say chazak. Oh, I wish a whole day saying, I wish I could eat chazak. I wish I could eat chazak. That's not an avera, but he's not kodesh. He's not separate. So that's what this pasuk is telling you. That a person, not just that he has to make sure not to do averas, but he has to be separate from them. He has to be prush. He has to be ganz and separate. So pashtus, you know, it's like a very high madrega, right? You know, I don't know about. I'm sure everyone here is not like that, but myself, if I don't do an avera, I'm happy. To be parish from the avera also, that's like asking too much. You know, Baruch Hashem, if you're able to hold back your yitzhak, you don't do an avera, it's gavaldik. No, first telling you a person has to strive for the highest madregas, he has to be kodesh. The next pasuk says, "Ish imay va'arev tirol." That a person has a mitzvah of yiras aveim, kibbud aveim, has to fear his parents. And the pasuk after that says, "Al tifnu Eloha libem, ve'alehei masechel esasu lachem," that you should not worship avodah zarah. So it's bothering me that the Torah starts off kedoshim to you, like we're saying, like Rashi says, having prushim, that you have to be on the highest madregas. So, like, isn't it a little strange that 1 second the Torah is talking to people Pasha to on the highest madregas? We're telling this person not just that he shouldn't do an aver, but he has to be a parish, he has to be kodesh. And the next second you turn around and you tell the guy, and don't worship avodah zarah. Like who are you talking to over here? Pashas, you're talking to a Psahel Kamensh, you're telling him not just, it's not enough that you're not doing averes, you have to be kodesh, you have to do the hechstem madregas. And then you turn around and tell him, and by the way, and also don't worship avodah zarah. Like, it doesn't make sense. Like, to such a person that you're telling him on one hand that he has to be on the highest madregas, that he has to be a parish, he has to be a kodesh, such a person you have to worry that he's going to worship avodah zarah, and you have to tell him not to worship avodah zarah. And where does Ish Imay Vav Tiro, where does that come in? Where does the mitzvah of Kibbud Aveim come in? What's the smichas, what's the shaychus, the connection between all these three psukim? So I want to say gavaldik that the pshat is that a person might think that when the Torah tells you that you have to be kodesh, the pshat is because the Torah wants us to be on the highest madregas. The Torah wants a person should be pashut, a kodesh, you should be a holy person, you should be parish, you should be on the highest madregas. How about if a person is going to say, listen, I'm not Rabbi Moshe Feinstein, I'm not Rabbi Eliezer Shach, I'll be a frum Jew, you know, I'll be Shavit Torah mitzvahs. So I won't be on the highest madregas. Not good, right? Torah wants you to be on the highest madregas. Okay, let's say I'm not a kodesh. So what's the problem? So one might think that the problem is because you're lacking that highest madrega. You're lacking the madrega of kedusha that the Torah wants us to have. The Torah wants us not just to be a good from a year. The Torah wants you to be on the highest kedusha. Okay, unfortunately I'm not a kodesh. Fine, I'm not a kodesh, but I'm a fine Jew. What's the problem with not being a kodesh? One might think because you're lacking the highest madregas. Says the Torah, no. You know why I'm telling you, Kedoshim, to you that you have to strive for the highest madregas? Don't think that if you don't strive for the highest madregas, so you'll be a mediocre, you'll be a Beinani. Says the pasuk, no. That if you're not striving for Kedoshim to you, you're not striving for the hechstem madregas, the danger is not just that you won't be kodesh, that you'll be a Beinani, you'll be a mediocre. The sakana is, you have to worry about the altifna rolling. That's why I'm telling you to be kodesh. The Torah is telling us that, you know why I'm telling you to be kodesh? Because if you're not striving for the highest, you're in danger, not just that you'll be a mediocre, you won't be the highest. You're in danger, you'll be the lowest. You're in danger, altifna rolling. And the emphasis is that Rashi, the pasuk of Al Tifnu Elilim itself almost says this Yisayid. Because Rashi explains, Al Tifnu Elo Elilim, so Rashi, Elilim is Melashon Al, Melashon nothing. So Rashi, when the person Chas v'Shalom first starts out doing this Aveira, he himself chaps that this Avodah Zarah is a joke. It's Al, it's nothing. You know, the Gemara says, why does a person worship Avodah Zarah? It's all other types. Torah says, if there's an Eibishter, there's an Eibishter on the world, so you have to listen to him. So the person says, nah, what Eibishter? Gets this ketchka, that ketchka. He himself chaps that it's wood and stone, it's baloney. But he does it because like this, he won't have to listen to the Eibishter, he can do all other types. So when he first starts off, it's like the pasuk Al Tifnu Elo Elilim, it's a Al, nothing. Eventually what happens, Velohei becomes a God. That's what Rashi says. So the pasuk itself is telling us this Yisayid, that once you start sliding, there's no end. The person starts with an Aveira, he chaps that it's Al, it's a nothing, it's a Lila. Eventually, it's Velohei Masech, it becomes a God in his eyes. That's what the Torah is telling us. That you know why I'm telling you that you have to be Kaddish? Not the Pshat is because otherwise you're lacking that highest madrega of Kedusha, you're not a Kaddish. No. The Pshat is because otherwise you're in a sakana of Al Tifnu Elilim, you have to worry about worshiping Avodah Zarah. Where does Kibbut of Aim come in? Teretz is same Yisayid. Why is it that a person has to fear his parents? A person has to be mechaber his parents. So some Gedolim say, Karsatayv, that could be one pshat. You know, you have to be makatayv. Your parents, they brought you up, they support you, they gave birth to you, a Karsatayv. But if that's the pshat, it's bothering me a little bit. You know, the Gemara says, Kavod es savicha es l'Rab zachicha gadol. Why is it that I have to be mechaber my older brother? If the only reason is that Torah said Kibbut Avim is because Al Karsatayv. Okay, my parents gave birth to me, they support me. Why do I have to? My older brother, what did he do for me? I'm not saying it's a Gefrel Chakasha, you know. Some people say Achich HaGadol is the oldest brother. Not your older, the oldest. So I can hear he's a shtickle like sort of a proxy, he's a Malamakim of his father. No, I'm not saying it's Gefrel Chakasha, but it's a little interesting, that's for sure. If it's Al Sakar Satayv, where does the older brother come in? So it could be a different part. The reason why the Eibishter says Kavod Savicha the Pshat is because a person has to learn to fear authority. You have to learn that there's a shayla, there are rulers over you. There are people that you have to respect. So the Torah is telling us, why do I want you to respect your parents? Pshat is because they themselves deserve the respect? Maybe, but that's not the main point. You know what the main point is? This you say. Because if a person is not going to have respect for authority of his parents, eventually he won't have respect for the authority of the Eibishter either. That's Yedua, that the Aseres HaDibros are divided. The first 5 Aseres HaDibros are Nefesh Yom HaKacha, is all Ben Adam L'Makam, and the second 5, L'Signav, and all that is Ben Adam L'Chaver. So they all ask, that L'Chura, Kavod Savicha Semecha is Ben Adam L'Chaver, you have to respect your parents. And yet, it's in the first 5. What's the pshat? According to this, you said it's Hafla. Because you know what Abish is telling you to respect your parents? Not because they themselves deserve respect. Mostly, if that's Al Karsatayv, that's Mamish Ben Abachaveri. What's it doing in the first 5? That's not the main vart. The main vart is, it's a means to an end. The Abish wants you to fear his authority. The Abish knows if you don't fear the authority of your parents, you're not going to fear his authority either. So that's why the matara, the focus, the in-depth pshat of Kavod Avicha is Ben Adam L'Makam. This is the hechatipsa, how you learn and how you train yourself to fear the Eibishter by fearing your parents. A person's going to say, "What's happens? The Eibishter, of course I'm going to fear the authority of the Eibishter, but my parents, who are my parents? I need to learn better than my parents. I should respect them. I'm a bigger tzaddik than them. Their authority I'm not to spoil from. But the Eibishter, his authority, I'm going to fear." It's like the pasuk not like that. If you don't fear even the lower authority of your parents, don't think, the little authority of my parents I'm not going to fear. But the authority of the Eibishter, of course you're going to fear. It's like the pasuk not like that. If you're not going to fear even the smaller authority of your parents, eventually you'll slip down and you're not even going to fear the authority of the Eibishter. So that's beautiful why it belongs to this parasha. This parasha of Kedoshim Tiyu, Al Tifnu Elilim is teaching us this Yisayid. You have to strive for the Kedoshim, for the highest, otherwise you're in danger of Al Tifnu, for the lowest. That's why I'm telling you Kibbut Avim. Also for the same Yisayid. Because if you're not going to fear, you're not going to have the highest madrega of fear for authority, that you even respect, you even fear the little bit authority of your parents, that you're not going to have any fear, even the slightest fear or authority you won't have, even for the greatest authority of the Eibishter. So that's beautiful why Mamish fits into this parasha, because it's Mamish the same side of go for the top or you end up Chas v'Shalom on the bottom. The Chafetz Chaim asks a very similar kasha to our kasha, that the pasuk says, Torah should be on your heart. You should teach your children. So the Mefarshim is, the Torah is teaching you over here, Limedat Torah. Kabbalah's on Torah. I'm sorry. Made a mistake. Different kasha. Chafetz Chaim is, it says like this. Nasati v'tar artzchem be'itoi gewaldig. And the next pasuk says what? Yishamar lachem pen yiftel avavchem. In fact, the Chafetz Chaim, our kasha. You're starting off, who's the Torah talking to? Vayim shmai tishma mitzvah, the people who listen to the mitzvahs. And lahavas Hashem aleikecha, la'avdei b'chol avavchem, you love Hashem with all your heart. And they have to reward you, Nasati v'tar artzchem be'itoi, alle gute Sachen. Such people, the Torah has to turn around and tell them, Hisham lechem peiftel avavchem. Besides avavchem alevachem, you're going to worship avodah zarah. Mamish, our kasha. Mamish the same, come out the same kasha. The Torah is talking to such people that love Hashem with all their heart, and they do the mitzvahs, and Hashem rewards them. Beitoi. Such people, you have to say, Hisham lechem peiftel avavchem. You have to worry, you're going to worship avodah zarah. So I wanted to say the same Torah. It's beautiful. The Torah is explaining to us, why do I give you these mitzvahs? Why? Why is it so important? I have to love Hashem with all my heart. I love Him with 3/4 of my heart. I feel it like Mesiras Nefesh. I have to love Him to that extent. I love Him, not because Mesiras Nefesh. Was also schlecht. No, Torah says, because the Torah wants you to have the highest madregas. You should love Hashem, you should be on the highest madregas, love Him with all you. No, that's not why it says the pasuk. You know why I'm giving you such heiche madregas? You know why? Because otherwise, you're in danger of worshiping avodah zarah. I was to say, shot. Chafetz Chaim answers a different terms over there. He answers that with his famous Yisai. Chafetz Chaim says Yisai that the Yetzer Hara will let a person do all the mitzvahs. Abila shlein the black gemara. That's how the Chafetz Chaim explains. You talk love Hashem with all your heart and you do all the mitzvahs, but you're not being Isaac with Torah. Such a person, says the Chafetz Chaim, he's talking, he loves Hashem with all his heart. Mamish, he's ready to be Mesiras Nefesh, and he does all the mitzvahs, and Hashem rewards him. Oh, but he doesn't learn Torah. Such a person, you have to worry that you feel of him. Worry the Kazakh.
So Pastor doesn't talk to everyone. He talks to those who are not learning Torah.
Yeah, that's Chafetz Chaim. That's Chafetz Chaim. That's what he said.
Afterwards, when you mark voice, because it's the corner.
Right. Very good. That's what fixes it up. Very good. Okay? So that's, I think, one very important yesod that we see here from this parasha. That I also wanted to say another zach with this. You know, the Gemara says the famous story with the guy that came over to Hillel, and he tells him, teach him the Torah on one foot. So Hillel tells him, what you hate, don't do to your friend. So I forgot who, one of the Mefarshim, didn't get a chance to look it up, maybe the Rashash, I don't remember exactly. He tzeichen su that what Hillel meant was Rabbi Kiva. Rabbi Kiva says, Zak Chal Godo, that's what Hillel meant. That's what one of the Mefarshim say. Hillel meant Rabbi Kiva's din. Kiva's din, what's a big, significant halach of the Torah? That's what Hillel was telling this guy. So his body is not true. Why are you switching? Hillel doesn't say you have to do like Rabbi Kiva, you have to love your friend like yourself. It doesn't say you have to do that much. Just don't do fakir, don't do negative. That's all Hillel said. What right does, I forgot who it was, what right does this Mefarish have to say that Hillel meant Rabbi Kiva's din? It's not true, he didn't say Rabbi Kiva's din. Rabbi Kiva's din is much more. Rabbi Kiva's din is not enough. According to Pashas, Rabbi Kiva's din, if I don't do to you what I don't want done to me. Okay? So you're not over Hillel's din, Madasaniloch, but you're over Rabbi Kiva's din, Madasaniloch. So Hillel never said you have to do Madasaniloch. He said, don't do Madasaniloch. So how does this Mefarish have a right to say that he meant Rabbi Kiva? According to how you said is Gavaldik. The pshat is because if a person doesn't love his friend with all his heart, that means he's already not on the highest madrega of Ahavas Chaverim. He's already a shtickle Madasaniloch. Once you don't go for the highest, you're already starting to go in the bottom. So if you're not in the highest madrega of Ahavas Chaverim, you're already a shtickle Madasaniloch. Person could think, okay, I'm not Rahafta. A positive love I should have for someone else. Right now. But to do bad, chas v'shalom, chas v'shalom. It's like Hillel. It's like this Mefarish actually, who's putting the two together, no such thing. If you're not at the highest madrega of Havzach Kamecha, it's already starting the Madasaniloch. You're already on the way to Madasaniloch. So this is, I think, one murder Kisai, which I know in my life is very, it's very negay, it's very applicable that. If a person doesn't strive for the highest madregas, I know personally that's the way I am. If Baruch Hashem, I get up on time in the morning and I get up to a nice early minyan and I come to yeshiva on time, then I'm mamish full bore, I'm ready to steig, I'm ready to learn Gavaldi. Once I get up late, I get to the late minyan, this and that, so forget it. Tomorrow. Shad is, because I'm trying to say that this Yisai that the Torah is teaching us is not just like a halacha like that. It makes a lot of sense. In my own life, that's the way it is. If I'm pushing for the highest madregas, I'm on fire, if you mizakt, the day goes. Once you start getting chinks in your armor, you did this, forget tomorrow for nothing. So, which is obviously not the right attitude, but what I'm trying to say is that's why it's very important to, take out this nekuda that you have to strive for the highest and strive for the highest and strive for the highest, and then you're, in the right direction. Once you're not striving for the highest, chas v'shalom, you're on your way down to the lowest. Could be to explain a little bit more. The vart of this. I was thinking another vart like this. That the pasuk tells us avodahen. Eibshter saying about Klal Yisrael, we are his avodim. That he took us out of Mitzrayim. So it's bothers me the obvious question. Like if I would want to know what makes us the Eibshter's avodim, you would ask me, you know what I would say? Because he created you. Whatever you create belongs to you. You create something. You go to a field that's hefker and you plant wheat and it grows wheat. Who's that wheat? It's yours. You create shvach, it belongs to you. So you want to know why are we the Eibshter's Eved? Because he created us. No. You know why you might have it? Because I took you out of Mitzrayim. What's the shot? So I want to say it sounds like this, that my father asked that, it's very interesting that Moshe Rabbeinu kept asking Parai, Derech Shloishes Yomim Neilech, let us go out for 3 days and we'll worship Hashem. And yet, when it came Lamaisa, Moshe Rabbeinu took the Yidden out of Mitzrayim and he never went back. So my father asked, I don't understand. Came to Makas B'chayris, Moshe Rabbeinu said, Kachatzos. So Rashi didn't want to say Bachatzos, he was afraid the astronomers will miscalculate. And it'll come what they think is Chatzos, and there's no Makas B'chayris. They'll say, Moshe Rabbeinu Badai, Moshe Rabbeinu is a lie, he'll be a big Chil Hashem. So my father asked, how can it be, over there Mitzrayim was the height of sophistication, of culture, of science. So how much would they have miscalculated already? A couple of seconds they would have miscalculated? For those couple of seconds, Moshe Rabbeinu was worried to be a Chil Hashem. But over here, Moshe Rabbeinu says an outright lie. He says Derech Shloishes Yomim, and then he goes and he doesn't come back. Why wasn't he worried Moshe Rabbeinu Badai? Be a big Chil Hashem. What's going on? So my father wanted to say Chiddush that when Moshe Rabbeinu asked that we should leave for 3 days, that's all he meant. All he meant is let us go for 3 days. The Yidden on their own decided we're not going back. That's what Yeshiva said. It was their own decision not to go back. Moshe Rabbeinu only planned on taking them out for 3 days. He would have taken them back. At a different time, there would have been Yetzias Mitzrayim, but now it was the Yidden's doing. What? Yeah, eventually. He's saying eventually there would have been Yetzias Mitzrayim, but not at this point. At this point, the years for 3 days, they would have went for 3 days, came back. Eventually, a different time, it would have taken them out.
No, but they already were on 49 level of Tumah.
Yeah, so maybe, but once they went out for 3 days and they started serving Hashem,
Couple of levels
couple
back.
of levels back. That's what she was saying. Oh, that's.
Moshe Rabbeinu was worried that they were going to say that they're going to take times, they're going to not real knowledge, sound, they're going to the word. It was just that he didn't come back as he promised his personal obligation. The act of the time that Moshe doesn't, whatever, he said not
I hear, but that's not supposed to. Pashas, when he said that's what he was saying to the Eibush. He was telling Pav, this is what the Eibush is asking. It wasn't his own request.
But it's like, that shows like the Moshe couldn't have the show, but here it's like...
I hear. Then there should be another shayla. We say in the Haggadah, Iluloi Hoitzak Harish Baruch Hu Zavseinu B'Mitzrayim, Harei Onu Uvanenu Uvneimnenu Shubad Minu L'Parim Mitzrayim. If the Eibush would have taken us out, we'd still be there. So my father asked, who says? Maybe we would have broken out. You know, the African Americans, Lahavdil, they were slaves. What happened? Eventually they rebelled and they broke out. So why couldn't that have happened over here also? If they go, we'd still be there. Says who?
Civil War. It could have been a civil war. Like, yeah,
Exactly.
Ended it, yeah.
So who says they'll still be there? So Rashiv said like this: the pshat is that in order to rebel, you need gumption, you need self-confidence, you need stolz. The Baal Gad is testifying that they were so tzeklap the Yidden, they were so shassin, and they were in such a state of mind of avdus, they never would have broken out. The Nazis, right? You had a concentration camp, you can have 10,000 Jews. How many guards were there? 50? If that. 40, 30? So they had machine guns. If those 10,000 Jews would have went ahead, they would have charged. So, 50 would have died, 100 would have died, but the other 9,500 would have got saved. Why did they do that? What the Nazis did was they made the Yidden feel subhuman. They made them feel like ants. They made them feel not human, and if they never had this self-confidence, this gumption to fight. That's what the Baal Gad is saying about the Yidden in Mitzrayim. They were so tzeklapt, they never would have had this gumption to break out. My father told me. Actually, Ibn Ezra says a very similar word. He says, by Kris Yamsuf, the Yidden see the Mitzrayim charging, they go all nervous, they start screaming to Moshe Rabbeinu. What's the problem? The Mitzrayim just suffered 10 makas. They were all tzeklapt, all tzeshasim. Here you had 600,000 Yidden between 20 and 60. Besides all the other people. Get up there and fight. Says this word. That they were in such a slave mentality, they were so tzeklapt and so tzebrochen, this concept that I can raise my hand to my master never existed. It didn't exist. To enter their heads that they could fight back, they couldn't. They were too much avodim. They were too much the slave mentality. That's like my father's time. Ibn Ezra says that's why the Eibush had to make it that the whole Dara Midbar died out, because the Dara Midbar never would have been able to fight against the Shivasumas. They didn't have this. They were too much slave mentality. Oh, this man wanted to tie it. That's the pshat avodah hate. The Eibush wants us to be his slaves, not because he created us, so halacha we belong to. He wants that pasha. There's not one iota of us is not given up to him. Every time you breathe in and out, you have to think, this is what my master wants. So what the Eibush did was he put us in the Korah Barzel. He put us in Mitzrayim. We like I'm explaining from my father, from the Ibn Ezra, we became avodim, not just entitled, not just legally, but pashut in Mitzias. We developed such a state of mind of avdus, like my father is saying, the Pshat they never would have broke out. Like the Ibn Ezra is saying, they couldn't fathom to pick up their hands to defend themselves. They couldn't fight against the Shivasumas because they were slaves in Mitzias. The Eibush says, I took this state of mind of yours, this Mitzias, that Mitzias are avodim, and I switched it over to me. That's what the Eibush is saying. You know, you're my avodim. Why? Because the mitzvahs I made you avodim. Not the pshat is because halachically I created you. The Eibush wanted more than that. The Eibush wanted that there's no part of ourselves that's not given over to Him. That's not devoted to Him. That's what an Eved is. An Eved is there's no part of the person. He's not a separate entity. You know, my father said at the end of Bahar, the Torah over there says, speaking about Eved, Ivri Anim Kal Akram, the Torah repeats the halachas of Shabbos and Avodah Zarah. Rashi says why? Because I would say, just like my master serves Avodah Zarah, me too. Just like he's Bechal Shabbos, me too. She said, why should I think that? You're a Yid and he's a guy. Teretz says this word, that an Eved is not a separate entity, Bechal. He's not separate from his master. He's a shtickle. He's a hand of his master. Exactly. Voltach gemeint without this pasuk that my master worships Avodah Zarah. That's me. I have no option not to worship Avodah Zarah. I need a special pasuk to tell me that like that. That's what the Eibush is saying. That in Mitzrayim, that's the Metzias that I established. That's the Korah Barzil. That's what I did to you in Mitzrayim. And by me taking you out, that allegiance, that state of mind transferred over to me. So it could be that's the pshat why you have to strive for the highest madregas. Because the second that a person is saying, I'm not going to be on the highest madrega, I'll be mediocre. What you're saying in essence is that there's part of yourself that you're not devoting to the Eibishter. I'm only ready, let's say, abandoning is, let's say, 50%. 50% of myself I'm willing to serve. The other 50 I'm keeping for myself. That's really not an Eved. An Eved is that there's no part. So how can you not strive to be the highest madrega? Once you're mistopic b'mut, once you say, I'll be a mediocre, that means 50% or 30% of yourself you're holding back from the Eibishter. This I'm not willing to give up to the Eibishter. That means you're Eved. That means you're a separate entity from the Eibishter. Once you're separate from the Eibishter, that's it. You go on business off. Only if Taka, like the Chazal always say, ain't different time Miskayel Mishamei Besatzmi. That's this Vart. The Vart is that in order to succeed in Yiddishkeit, you have to be that there's no separation between you and the Eibishter. There's no part of you that you're not devoted to the Eibishter, that you're not giving up to serve the Eibishter. Once there's a part of you that's not giving up to the Eibishter, Chas v'sholom, you're already separate from the Eibishter, it spreads. It's already not Avadai. That's what the Eibishter is saying. Avadai, the pshat is that I made you that you can't take a breath without a cheshbon if that's for me. Only a person who strives for the highest madregas is acting that way. Once you say, a little bit I won't be for the Eibishter. I'll be mediocre. That means part of yourself you're not willing to give up to the Eibishter. That's already, you're lacking in the whole Avdus. That's already not Avdus. Once you're not an Eved Hashem, Chas v'sholom, you can go business off. So I think this is very, crucial for us to keep in mind. All of us, want to steig. All of us want to grow close to the Eibishter. We want to reach the highest madregas. So, along with this nemen some hartzen, let us work on ourselves. Days of Sfira, each day we're going level higher and higher. Piskabal Sater. Let us keep this in mind to make ourselves grow every day and business soft that Hez Hashem will be zeicha. Comes a time for shulas that will be totally dovek to the Eibishter, totally mamish like avodim taka. There won't be one shemetz, not even the slightest part of ourselves that's separate from the Eibishter. We'll be zeicha to be avodim, and we'll be zeicha to emsel kabbalas hatayra to emsel shtayim.
Amen.